Welcome everyone, welcome to livestream number 7. Today with me is a very special guest. His name is Gregor Ojstersek and he's the CTO at Zorion. He'll tell you a bit more about what he does, but he's also the author of the Engineering Leadership newsletter with over 37,000 subscribers. He's got 10 years plus experience in tech as a engineer, as a leader, and as a CTO. So I'm really excited for this talk today. We're going to talk about the business mindset, the role of the CTO. We'll also talk about leadership in tech. So without further ado, let me welcome Gregor.
Thanks for having me, Ty. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome. I just switched to the video, so you can say hello again to the audience.
All right. Hey everyone. So as you mentioned, Ty, basically I'm the CTO at Zorion. We are a pretty young fintech startup. We are working on a mobile application that will be offering experience in investing in pre-IPO companies. We want to get retail investors really close to pre-IPO companies. As you mentioned, over 10 years experience, both as an engineer and also engineering leader. About, let's say, 4 to 5 years as an engineer. I grew from junior to senior software engineer. And then I went into more kind of a, let's say, management path. I became a team lead. I then became an engineering manager, head of engineering, VP of engineering, and now I am the CTO. As you mentioned, I also write a weekly newsletter. It's called Engineering Leadership. I try to help everyone to become great engineering leaders. I try to get topics like leadership, business mindset, product mindset, focusing on building the right things closer to everyone. And I think with that kind of mindset, everyone can grow faster in their careers. And yeah, I also post daily on LinkedIn as well.
Amazing. Like one of the things that struck me a lot, I've been following you for maybe 6 months, and it was maybe before the inflection point where your growth of your engineering leadership just kind of flew off. And that tells me there's like a really strong signal in the engineering community that things like leadership and business mindset are kind of becoming more mainstream than they were.
Yeah, it's true, and you know, that was kind of my story, and for example, how I started with my weekly newsletter and also posting on LinkedIn. I did it for, let's say, 6 months, and it wasn't really noticed as much, right? I just sent out the weekly newsletter. I posted like 2 times on LinkedIn, and then I shut down LinkedIn. I didn't like really engage with others. I wasn't really part of the community on LinkedIn and so on. And I think it took a lot of time till that like first traction point, right? And it took around 6 months to get to that. But then after that, and I became a lot more active on LinkedIn as well. That also helped quite a lot with kind of like getting more exposure to my newsletter, because I mean, obviously I was learning and always trying to get better with my writings and the way I'm presenting what I want to write, and the way I try to be as simple as possible, as straight to the point. Obviously I needed to have that learning curve, and after 6 months I think it finally got more kind of visibility. And yeah, ever since that, it has been really amazing support from everyone. And yeah, I really appreciate it. And I think it's I still don't know exactly like 100% what's the actual reason for such fast growth, but yeah, as you said, a lot of people are looking for ways to improve, are looking to get better as an engineers, as engineering leaders. And you know, newsletters are really becoming like really great kind of a media for learning, right? They have really became one of the main kind of knowledge knowledge media for me. I'm reading a lot of newsletters, and I think it's just going to get more and more popular, I would say, as the time goes by, because you can really get fast overview of a particular topic, especially if it's like straight to the point. And you can learn quite a lot from people that have been through things and have done something. So
Is
yeah.
is there a person or like a role that's most active in your newsletter, like the most hungry for knowledge, or is it spread across different roles? What kind of feedback are you getting on it?
Yeah, if you're talking about a role of like, for example, my audience, I try to not only cater like to specific people,
Hmm.
but I try to really talk to like general audience in software development industry, right? That goes from engineers, engineering leaders, obviously architects, managers, everyone in the engineering industry, right?
Yeah.
So I try to write in a way that is, for example, manager needs to know as well, like what is the best way to give feedback to certain developer, and also what kind of feedback to give to a certain engineer, right? So it's kind of like both sides. Engineers get actionable insights and tips and advice on how to get better in their careers, and also like, for example, managers have like the tools so they can give it to their direct reports like engineers on how to get better in terms like being an engineer, growing in your career, and so on. So I try to really speak to both engineering leaders and engineers as well.
But it sounds like that's a natural progression where you you get them in different stages of their career progression. So those who are
Yeah.
strictly still in engineering are then becoming engineering leaders, or a lot of them choosing a leadership path. And it seems like there's a lot of this missing piece of, we like to think about technology and what's a good solution before we actually think as engineers, like are we solving the right kind of problems. I want to get into the business mindset and then maybe touch on the role of the CTO and how it evolves. But before we do that, maybe because we start talking about the newsletter and what kind of audience is it, we know that the market right now is completely different than it was 2 years ago, where recruiters were hungry, the tech sector was booming, and now we're in somehow in a shrinking mode. And you said, posting daily, engaging, showing what you can do is a really good way to grow as engineers, and probably your audience would also benefit. Not just your audience, but engineering in general. We could use more of that open, building in public, presenting yourself, building a personal brand.
Yeah, I always love to see, for example, if one person starts like actively posting on LinkedIn in our industry, in the engineering industry. I really love to see that, because if there are more people talking about it and spreading the like and trying to help others, like we are all growing, right? And it's also a great way you are helping others, and you are also learning yourself, right? Because you grow quite a lot when you're helping others, because you're cementing your knowledge in your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how you are putting your actual your words and actual knowledge into something tangible, right?
But
So
it sounds like we also, like as engineers, we're solving complex problems, or maybe not even just strictly speaking engineering. Maybe it's engineering or a leadership problem. But if you don't write about it to, I know that recently, like I solved a complex problem with the technology, and then
mm,
if you don't write about it, it's just like how many things. I think on one of your last blog posts, you write about keep a record of
regulars.
your
Yeah,
wins, right?
yeah.
And it seems like it's really important that when we crack a tough problem, that we kind of save it and write about it and teach others, because by teaching others, we also deepen our knowledge.
Yeah, and also you need to write down your wins as well, right? If you solve a tough problem, you need to write it down, and this is going to be a really great motivational factor for you. Okay, I have solved this great problem. let's celebrate this win, right? And it will always kind of keep you in a good mood, even if like we all have bad days, we all have good days, and when it's needed, it's always really great to go through and see what we have achieved and celebrate those wins. So yeah, really amazing for learning, writing down what we know, helping others at the same time. And the other point is also you need to, in our current industry, our current market is quite not really great at this time, and you need to be sharing your ideas. You need to be how do I say, as prepared as possible, and you can do that by increasing by for example being active on LinkedIn, or by like having like a newsletter, or having a blog, or something like that. It's really important that you can already get an idea to people what you know, what you can do, and what your kind of experience is, and what your expertise is. Because, for example, if there's like a role, like a really great role, and a lot of people are currently looking for new roles, there's going to be a lot of competition, right? And you want to be um, as great fit as possible, and you can do that by for example having a personal brand and focusing on sharing your knowledge with others and so on. That shows quite a lot of
So,
good qualities
so
already.
it sounds like almost that the place where you want to be or where you can get to by having a personal brand, by writing about your technical challenges, is that, let's say somebody is looking for a job, they're looking for an engineer. If you have that presence, they can already decide just based on the stuff that you put out, I want to work with that person. And then the interview just becomes, let's see if you are a good fit, and not the part, okay, let's give you a task, let's see how you think. It's like, it feels like 80% is already done by you pre-interview.
Yeah, 100%. You already get the picture of what a certain person believes in. You already know and see what kind of problems have that person can solve, right? So it's I mean, and obviously in software engineering, it's a lot about fit and what's the best fit for the team. You want to make sure that a person has the right mentality, is focusing on the right things, like for example helping others, is a team player, wants to build the right things.
Mm.
But yeah, you already get like that, so sort of like a good first impression. If a person is focusing on the right things, it's a lot easier than to move that person in the next step, in the second step, third step, and so on, because you already get that first good impression.
I, I one of the current engineers that I'm working with, we found him exactly because he is an open source contributor, and because he built exactly the thing that we needed for the project. And we're like, hey, would you work on our team, because we would love to have exactly that, but for our project. So it was
Mm.
a very natural thing. It wasn't like, can he build it, because the product was already there. The code was open source, we know who wrote it, it's in GitHub, you can see the effects, and it was a no-brainer decision. It wasn't like, let's interview him. It's like, would he be willing to join us for a while to work on, to bring his knowledge into our team and to help us build this thing?
Yeah, 100%. That's a really good example, right? If you can show yourself as being how do I say, as useful as possible, companies will love to have that person. And if you can already show that you can solve the problems that the company has, it's going to be that much more tangible, as you said, right? So whatever you can do to contributing to open source is also really great thing to do if you're interested into to certain technology. You already become part of that community. You connect with others who are also contributing to that for example technology, and you never know, right? That person might see like, hey, you are a good person. You're writing good code. You're great to work with. That person might recommend you to a certain role, or for example, that technology is maybe seeking for a contributor in-house. They want to have a
Mm-hmm.
developer in-house, and they will be looking at like people who are contributing to their, like, let's say, open source technology, and it's a huge advantage. Today's, like, just sending the CV out and just sending the how I say, letter of motivation, is it something like that? I don't think it's that's very effective
I
at
mean,
this time.
but even there, like I created a short video because I was struggling with precisely that, like hiring people who don't have any online presence where you could get and form an opinion. And it's like a lot of the CVs that they get are ChatGPT generated, and then there's AI companies who are saying we'll screen your CVs so that you don't have to with AI, and then it just feels like it's an AI battle of like AI generated CVs getting screened by AI, and you're just like, I just need a good engineer, I don't have time to deal
Yeah.
with this auto generated stuff.
100%. And that's why I'm not also like a big fan of AI like tools that helps you like screen CVs. Obviously, if you have like a lot of candidates, like 500 or 400 candidates applying, you need some sort of like an automation, something like that. But yeah, I'm not really a big fan because they're not as accurate, and they're not checking the actual important skills like soft skills, people skills,
You can hack the
collaboration
system, right?
skills. And so they're just checking certain keywords in the CV, right? But yeah, it's not. I mean, these days, if you can stand out from others, it's you will have a lot more opportunities, right? You can be the best engineer in the world. You can be the most smart engineer. You can build the most amazing things. You can solve the best. You can solve really efficiently problems. But if people won't know that you can do that, unfortunately, you won't get any opportunities. So, but a person that is maybe a little bit less experienced, is maybe a little bit less good in certain areas, that is visible, that is like, that people know about him. That person is going to have a lot more opportunities.
Yeah, so it sounds like we covered like what, as an engineer, as an engineering leader, what you can do to create your boost your visibility on overall in the market, to stand out and really show yourself off. Basically, here are my values. Here's what I can do.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about the importance of business mindset, because I know you come from a similar background like me, that you have this path of being more closely in touch with people and with managing them and just having a feeling for management or organization. Before we jump into the topic, I just want to remind the audience that the comment section is open, and at the end there'll be a Q&A. So please, if something comes up that you want to ask Gregor, please write down in the comments, and then we'll go through that. And now onto it seems like one of the really important things that makes you stand out. One is, at a certain point, you can be the best engineer in the world, but if you're not actually contributing to business outcomes, you're just, writing code to order for somebody else, which means that if that order to build something did not take into account like the business goal, the tech strategy, where the company is headed, you just end up creating a very complicated, useless piece of software that will never see the light of day or will not actually improve things at the company. And I think that's waste, where we as engineers don't question the requirements, don't understand what business problem we're solving, what the vision of the company is, and then we're just too focused on that, what's a good technical solution. And it's really sad when I was on projects where we were doing something cool, but it ended up being at the end useless, right?
Yeah, 100%. I just posted an interesting thought about this today in the morning. It's the saying is our users don't care how shiny our tech is, right? They care that the technology is solving their problems, and that's 100% true, right? You can have the best engineering, well crafted solution, but if it's not solving the problems of our customers, like, it's not going to be useful. It's a waste of time creating that technical masterpiece, right?
I'm curious from your perspective, like, how did you learn about, okay, I need to, as you grew as an engineering leader, how did you say, okay, actually the business side is as important as technology,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
leadership is actually the key in engineering, because it's not,
yeah,
most people just stay in their bubble and they're like,
yeah,
okay, I'm
yeah,
I'm engineer, the politics are for somebody else, for let product
yeah,
deal with that, let somebody else. I just built whatever needs to be done. I provide a good technical solution. So what was different from you? When was this spark of?
yeah. I learned this on a pretty hard way, I would say. And the reason why I learned this and why I'm a big advocate for it was, as an engineer, I did quite a lot of freelance projects,
Mm,
and I have spoken with quite a lot of different people, and I have did quite a lot of different projects for, let's say, non-tech people that don't really know anything about technologies. They needed a certain website, they needed a certain application or something. And the number one thing you need to do is really understand what did they need. And the first thing what they tell you is 99% wrong. That you need to build this. Okay, that's probably not something that you want, right? So you need to start like thinking in a way, what is something that what is your pain point, what is your problem, how can I contribute to solving this problem, right? So you need to not just think in technologies like React. I'm going to use React. I'm going to use PHP. I'm going to use Node.js in the backend. But you need to think about, okay, this customer has this particular problem. Maybe just maybe a mobile application is not the best way to do it, because the users of the customer don't really use mobile application, right? They don't really use mobile quite a lot. They're a lot on desktops. They're a lot, they need to be focused when they're doing things. So, okay, mobile application would be a totally wrong solution to build, and it would be a really, really expensive for the client to actually build a mobile application and then find out that, okay, it's not the best solution, right?
so it sounds like
So
you felt there's two sides to the story. First, they know they have a problem, but they come up with a solution. Like, they have limited knowledge of tech. That's why they come to
yeah,
you, and they say, but within their limited knowledge, they think that, okay, to solve this problem, I need this thing, and probably I need React, and I need, it needs to scale because I'm gonna have 1 million users, and so we need to have microservices. And they come with
yeah,
a list of tasks, like, okay, so I have this idea, you need to build this and this and this and this, and then they come with a recipe, but they don't understand that you're the expert and you will probably do a better architecture that actually fits them.
yeah,
And then how do you talk to them to let them, to guide them in a way
yeah.
that solves their actual problem, not the recipe that they created within their limited knowledge?
Exactly. And the problem is that a lot of people would go straight into implementation and they will just do it, right? Because
Yeah.
it's so easy to get straight and just, okay, this is a solution. Let's build it. Let's build it. We know the languages, we know the frameworks. Let's do it. But as I said before, the result would not be the best. Maybe you can say, okay, the customer the client had this idea, and it's their fault, but it's not their fault because you are the expert in this
Mm-hmm.
field. So you need to be a consultant, you need to be an advisor, and not only the one who is building it, right? That's where the true value comes, right? And you need to propose things. And I did quite a lot of consulting, advising with different
Mm-hmm.
companies, with different projects, with different people, and that has helped me quite a lot. Like having this kind of mindset, having this kind of mentality
What's
that
the
I have
hardest
at
thing?
this
Is it
time.
because, like, it's easy to take the money, say yes, we'll build it, and then basically deliver something that that will probably not solve their problem, but whatever, money is money.
Yeah,
And it sounds like when it's you're faced with this choice, do I take the money or do I tell them, actually, I don't want to take your money because I want to solve your problem, and we need to do it in a way that will actually get you to your goals, and not just, I can build you whatever you need, whatever you think you need, but it's probably not going to be useful for you. Like, how do you have that conversation?
yeah,
What do you need
it's
personally, as
yeah,
an engineer? Because that's the scariest part, is you need to say no, you need to
yeah,
challenge those requirements, And a lot
Yeah.
of people in engineering went into that field because they're introverts or they're more shy, quiet. They don't want to deal with business stuff. But now we came to the point where if you don't do that, then you might end up in a situation where you're building something that, is
Yeah.
ultimately not gonna solve a problem.
Yeah, a lot of it is, I like to say, reputation is really important in our industry, right? And I rather have a good reputation than just the reputation of building something that is not going to be
Oh, that's very
useful
good.
at all, right? So I always think of it like, hey, if a customer client wants this and it's totally wrong, it would be not really great for me if I would just build it and that's it, and then it would be a bad experience, and then that customer would be like not be advocating for me, for others. But I rather have like a happy customers, happy clients. I would say happy people that I work with. Uh, I try to be as connected with also with my ex-colleagues and things like that. I try to stay in good good contacts with all of them. I think its reputation is really important
Mm-hmm.
in our industry, right? So that's one of the things that you need to have in mind when you are when you're doing this, right? But also, regarding conversations, you said saying no, right? Um, you need to do that. You need to learn to do that as an engineer. And the more you grow in any of your positions, for example, if you grow in an IC path from
Mm-hmm.
engineer to senior engineer to staff software engineer, the more you need to learn to say no to people, to say no to things, and really focus on what's important. And that for example, if a business requirement is to deliver a whole lot of different features, you need to be the one who is saying, okay, we can focus on this, we can focus on this, but let's give this to the next iteration. And then you try to, within those focus points, you try to even narrow it down to smaller, like really what's something that we can really easily deliver in a simple way that is not going to like give us like 2, 3, 4 months of development effort, and at the end of the like that cycle, you think that okay, you don't even need this feature anymore, right?
Yeah.
That's something that we are trying to avoid in any cost. So you always try to like you need to navigate the conversations, like for example business requirements and then technical implementation, and then the ones from everyone. You need to propose, and uh, you need to suggest something tangible that is going to be simple to start, easy to build, and is going to bring enough value that is going to solve these particular problems.
Oh, we have an interesting question, and maybe we can just answer it here. Istok Smolic asks, isn't there another role in a project that is responsible for making sure why something is built? Product owners or consultant roles, such as business analyst, should be responsible for such decisions.
Yeah, definitely it is. But at the end of the day, who is building software is engineers, right? We are building software, and you can't just blindly build something based on requirements. That is not going to give us the best results, because there's so many micro decisions we need to make in software development in our industry when we are building a certain feature.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have like if you don't know the motivation, if you don't understand um, if you don't understand about the business, if you don't understand about the customers, you're going to make a lot of those decisions wrong. You're going to assume that okay, we need this, but maybe like the customers just need this, and product managers, product owners, they are not in all of these details. They need to do a good job in presenting these details to everyone, and engineers needs to be there to challenge requirements
So
and suggest simpler solutions to
for
those
me, it
particular
seems like
problems.
there's like almost a pipeline from what I've observed in different companies that I've been in, and it's always like engineering is ultimately the thing that holds up the whole company, right? Because marketing department needs something from engineering. Then there's the core features that the engineering is building. Then there's we can get into the discussion of like what's IT and what's engineering, but ultimately, at some point they split apart. But it's still like at the end of the day, engineering actually builds whatever gets put into the pipeline on the front. And if you say, if you take a look at if there's a disconnect and the engineering is in a bubble, and Istok asks, if shouldn't be there somebody else who's responsible. Like ultimately, it seems if you wait and just form a bubble there, all the problems that would have been resolved if engineering was involved sooner kind of bubble down to the engineering team, and then the engineering team gets burned out, they're unhappy, and they're like become defensive, right? They don't get to experience those wins. And what I've always tried to change is bridge the gap between if business decides something, if sales decides something, and engineering ultimately builds it, those three people need to be in the same room. Because engineers will have clever ideas if they know the business side of what they can actually bring to the table cheaper, faster, better, or what's realistic. And if sales doesn't know, what the engineering team is capable of, or what corners they can cut, or where the value is, then it's just like they're blind in their box. Marketing is blind in their box, product is blind in their box, just sees the world about product numbers, and then engineering is ultimately just getting bombarded with all requests. Build us this, we sold this feature to somebody. Why are you saying it's 2 months? It should be 3 weeks. We said that you can do it in 2. What? How do you get out of that broken system? Because that's, for me, through my career, 80% of the companies were in this kind of mode.
Yeah, been there as well in my career a few times, and it's not pretty. It's not great. That's also the reason why I'm trying to really focus on making sure we are all together, not like just engineering is one department, product is another department, design is another department, sales another, marketing another, as you mentioned, finance another, and then we are all pointing fingers at each other, right? Whose fault is it that customers doesn't like the product, that doesn't like our product? Is it engineering? Probably it's engineering. Everyone is pointing at engineering, right? But no, it's everyone's problem, right? We are all in this together, and the only way we can achieve best results is for us to work together, not against each other, right? So that's also like my personal mission everywhere I go, is really make sure that business and other departments are really aligned with what we are building in engineering. And obviously engineering and product needs to be really close. I really want to have product as close as possible to engineering. So, and also design as close as possible to engineering. So we're already close, but then we need other departments to be close as well. So it's really important to have this transparency of what you're doing, what you're building, what your focus is, and make sure we get the buy-in from everyone. Everyone is on the same page in terms of like what are we working on, what is our focus, what is our product vision, what is our engineering vision, what are our main focus points at this time. That's also like I'm a big fan of like sprints, 2-week sprints, and sprint prep planning is an amazing meeting where you can gather all of this how do I say, people from different departments, and you are making sure that everyone is on the same page, what is going to get delivered by the end of next sprint. And it works wonders.
But it seems like there's a progression to get to that point. And I know one of the things that we said that we'll discuss today is the role of the CTO and how you need to grow. Like maybe when you're working for a startup, CTO is the founding engineer, but he's also the only one who is actually building something, maybe the only engineer in the company. So the CTO goes from all of that to, you have 10,000 engineers in 50 departments. You have four people reporting to you who take care of different branches of your company. And maybe you're not even leading the engineering team directly, but you're the one who sets up the vision and has a small team for experiments to find out where the company is in the next 5 years. Like from being the solo engineer on the dev team to being a visionary CTO dealing with experiments, tech strategy, what's coming in 5 years that we're still around. Like there's a lot of ground to cover to get there. And
It really is.
one of the things that we said, like you need to bring departments together in order for
Yeah.
to have great engineering. Let's talk
You
about the role
know,
of the CTO and how do you evolve into that where you are the only
yeah,
engineer and then you need to hire more people. How do you start uh, integrating the business mindset? How do you
yeah.
become a
You
leader?
know, it's very different. I would say it's a totally different job if you are just a one person, one engineer working on a product. Than if you're part of like a bigger company, as you mentioned, 10,000 engineers, or even like 100 or 200
Yeah.
engineers, or even thousand engineers. It's a totally different job, right? So the role of the CTO really depends on the size of the company, the business, also the business in which industry the company is in as well, but the mostly is the size of the company, right? So in smaller companies, obviously, if you're one person, one engineer in the company, that a lot of times means that you're trying to bootstrap the product to get to the market without like getting a lot of investments in it,
Mm.
right? So that means you're really close to the market. You need to be everywhere, right? You need to be doing product, you need to be doing engineering, you need to be doing marketing, you need to
You're
be doing
wearing so many
advertising.
hats. You're basically a one man band for everything. Plus,
Exactly.
you need to code during the night, so it's a 24-hour job probably.
There's no one going to take care of marketing for you and make sure that people know about your product, right? You need to be all of that, right?
No,
Obviously. Yeah.
CTO that I'm entering now is precisely like it. That's a bit further along because they've been in a part of a really small team of 2-3 engineers, and now they are promoted into the role of the CTO, and they have 6 people on board. So, but they're doing a lot of the day-to-day hands-on tasks. All the support requests, everything is just getting there. And the question is, how do you go from a state where you're mostly an individual contributor, you deal with the day-to-day, you build something, you know where the microservices are, you know where the AWS deployment keys are stored, and so forth. But suddenly you have a team, and you are
Yeah.
realizing I cannot, if I'm doing everything myself and kind of letting the team be free, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's tough because I've been through that as well. The same kind of similar experience where we as engineers we are so used to having control, and we are used to having really the control over the outcome and what we are working on, and we want to have a good understanding of the details of what we are working. As you mentioned, have a good control of the microservices, right? But if you are growing, if you need to, like for example, if you grow from engineer then to a CTO, you become a manager, right?
Mm.
You become responsible for the team, and you are not people are not going to look at your individual contribution as much important as the team contribution. So you need to shift the mindset from yourself to the team level, and you are not going to be judged anymore by how many microservices have you have you worked on, and how many pull requests have you done, how much code have you written or deleted. It's a lot better to delete, by the way. But you are going to be judged by the overall results from the team, how the team is working together, what kind of new business value have the team delivered,
Yeah.
how is how is the team contributing to the better organization, and so on. How is the overall department contributing to the overall organization? Those are the things you're getting valued. And if you're just focusing whole day coding and you say working on a microservice, you will not do a good job with that because others will be like, okay, well, what should I work on? Because our CTO is working on a microservice, and but what should I work on, right? So
But it's
you need
so
to be
easy. Like
yeah,
I've been there. It's the easiest is it's you know what needs to be upgraded. There's a database table that you know best. you know where
Yeah.
the indexes need to be put on. You know that you need to upgrade something,
Yeah.
and when you disappear for 3 days to work on, my personal guilty pleasure is writing deployment scripts. So I know that,
Hmm.
when sometimes when the team needed me most, I was like, you know what, our deployment is kind of in a bad state. Let me fix that. And they're like, yeah, but well, what do we work on? And it seems like you said there's a mindset shift that needs to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to look at things that you're good at, and you need to transfer that knowledge to others, right? You need to be the person who is going to help others, who is going to uplift others, and who is going to coach and mentor others. So you need to become more of a coach than a player contributor, right?
Like
So
for
yeah,
me here, it's also like the important um, piece of the puzzle, because it's not just one thing is like transferring your engineering skills and everything else, but the other is understanding the more complex environment of how do you, if you're the CTO, and you have a CEO. When the CEO doesn't understand what the tech team is doing and what kind of value it's creating every day, or like what's your weekly plan, do you have things under control, then they tend to micromanage. They'll jump on you and be like, what are you doing in the tech team? What's next? Are we solving a problem? Marketing is stuck again, and they'll be like really going at you. And so a big thing that of like what I'm discussing on these meetings is, how do you gather requirements from other departments?
yeah,
How do you keep the CEO happy to know that engineering has a plan? It understands all your other departments are taken care of. There's nothing to worry. We have it under control. And that's maybe comes down to, again, the business mindset. And how do you speak to different people within the company, let's say to the CEO, in business terms of the value that the tech team is bringing? Because if you tell them, we closed 15 tickets, and we are refactoring this and this microservice, and we're using RxJS now, and it's much more beautiful. They're like, they zone out. You just see a blank stare, and they say that's good, but what value? Your department is the most expensive one. What did I buy last week that 6 engineers needed to,
yeah.
dig in? Like, how do you
They,
have
they,
those
they will
conversations?
they will get frustrated fast if you talk about technologies and you don't talk about what are these technologies actually bringing to the table, right? People will get frustrated because they won't understand it. They won't really know what this brings. They will just see a bunch of this how do I say this these words, engineering words that you
Yeah.
may sound smart when you say it, but people will not resonate with this, right?
So you need to,
So
it seems like you need to adjust your language to who you're speaking and
yes,
like translate it
yes,
into business terms. Like what's the impact that whatever we're
yeah.
building will have on your business, on your role, on the company, on your business goals.
Well, what I recommend is you need to find out the motivation, and you need to find the problems from each particular person, and then you're trying to frame the way what we are doing to specific people that resonates with them, and everyone likes when their problems are being solved, right? You
Yeah.
want to frame it in a way that this particular thing is solving their problems, not your problems, but others' problems, right?
Oh, that's very
So
well
that
put. Yeah.
that's really brings kind of attention to particular parts, and that really shows the value that you're bringing, right?
It seems like
Um,
when you connect the dots, you said you experienced that as a freelancer. And I think when you are a freelancer and I'm like new in this freelance role, and I see that that's very obvious, but the same thing is going on at the company level. Your clients are just like people from other departments that come to you with their
same
problems.
same
But
mindset.
marketing also comes with you, not with a, hey, we want to hit plus 10,000 customers next week, next month, or like increase our revenue 50K until the end of the quarter. They come with you with, please start coding the landing page. We need it by tomorrow. And then you need to be like, okay, but what's the purpose of the landing page? Yeah, and you need to kind of unwrap their journey until you get to their vision, to their goal, and then you can support them in how to get there. Because maybe you're like, we don't need to build a completely new web page. We can use the thing that we built for the other thing, connect it there, and boom, you have a campaign. We reuse the pixels, and
And what's important is you need to also teach your peers, right? The way that the engineering process is, the way we are working. So it's not expected that we are just in one day working on this, and then you're gonna come, and then the next day we are going to completely shift our priorities and responsibilities. It doesn't work like that in software engineering.
yeah,
Although in growth teams, in marketing teams, for example, if I have a team specifically focused on marketing activities, I like that team to be really prone towards, more kind of have like a hustler mindset,
yeah.
hacking mindset. Okay, let's get this. Let's focus on this. Let's do a quick A/B testing. Let's do a quick proof of concept. See how that is going to work, because that's how marketing works in general.
Are you a fan of dedicating people? Like sometimes I see that it's really like, especially if you're in a company where marketing has a lot of needs, that you dedicate an engineer and say, if you're the gatekeeper and you basically assign all tasks and everything needs to go through the engineering, it's going to, first of all, you're the one who's doing heavy lifting. So you're increasing the load on yourself with decisions that don't necessarily need to be yours. But if you give them a person and say, you're a part of the marketing strike team, or however you want to call it, do great things, and you just decouple the engineering of like, we are core engineering and you're basically supporting marketing, get their goals on. Like, is that?
Yeah, there are many ways to handle this. And for example, for like the smaller to medium-sized companies, it works well for marketing team if they have like a freelance agency working with them as well, because those agencies are really great with fast iteration and working based on requirements and so on. But if the marketing is really important for a company, right? If it's really like a part of the business strategy, then we need to devote more effort on the engineering side as well. And what I would propose, it's really based on, it depends on the size of the team you have and the overall engineering department. But I would also look for creating a separate team just to support marketing efforts, right? And that team would be really mentality of like have the
more
exact skill
hustler.
set. Yeah, have the exact skill set, like really. I mean, I'm not talking about stability, and I'm not talking about, as you mentioned, microservices. That kind of things don't come really useful for that kind of people in the team. You need to have people that know how to build landing pages, know how to build websites, know how to build A/B testing quickly, know how to support, for example, do kind of marketing automations, or in terms of like
tracking
website
pixels,
automations.
everything.
Tracking pixels. There are different skill sets that you need, right? And normal engineers working in a software, let's say, software as a service, they have the skills like a React or like a Python on the back end, Fast API, Flask, or whatever, or databases. That skill set is a bit different than that. So I would also like, for smaller companies, having a dedicated person just to support marketing activities is really the way to go.
Yeah, it seems like that you decouple then also, like maybe marketing has big needs, or maybe you have logistics or like any other department that has a big need of being supported by the tech team, but they're not essentially, it's not product oriented. It's like they need, if you don't give a person to marketing, then they get stuck because they want to do a campaign. Somebody needs to program something, a pixel needs to be added, a landing page needs to be created, which means that if you put it in the same funnel that where you're handling, let's say, building the core product feature, then the marketing requests are kind of getting, marketing wants something again, but we have higher priority things to build. And then the CEO comes down to you and says, if marketing doesn't get what they need, we won't hit our quotas next week, and the funding round is canceled. So it's like, it seems like your job as the CTO is to organize and take into account all the departments, plus satisfy the CEO that he knows that, okay, things are under control. My other departments are not starving because tech team is like deferring everything to, we can't do it, we're busy, come back later,
Yeah, yeah, 100%. You need to be there to really see like the high level objectives. What are we trying to do? I need to find solutions to particular department needs. And as I said, if you're just going to focus on product development and you're not going to focus on marketing activities, we get back to our first conversation: is nobody's going to know about our great product,
Yeah.
right? How many people are going to use it? None, because none of them they understand and they know about our great product. We can have all the great microservices on the back end, and we can use the hottest technologies on the front end. But if our customers doesn't know, we won't have any success.
So Anton is asking, how do you navigate the challenging conversation with C-level executives, especially the CEO, when you identify technical issues or need to propose an alternative approach?
Yeah, this is a good question, and it's also part of our sprint planning meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm a big advocate for this meeting. Is this is where we are getting all the different requirements from people, from all the different departments, and that's where we are trying to get like a good plan that we are all aligned with. And this is what we are going to work on. We also then have a sprint demo meeting. Sprint prep planning is one day before the sprint demo.
Mm-hmm.
Sprint demo is where we are showcasing what has been done in the sprints. So we have 2 week sprints. And that's where we also say to everyone, okay, this is our goals for the next sprint. So everyone is aligned. Everyone knows exactly what we are working on. Being transparent is the best way to go, and just trying to navigate different requirements and proposing. You need to propose. You need to propose a solution suggestion on what to work. You can't just say, okay, what should we work on? What should we do that? Okay, is it fine to do that? No, you need to say, okay, let's work on this. Let's work on this. Let's work on this. Are you fine with this? Are you guys okay? Because this is our effort that we can put into this. If you're putting our focus into many different places, we will be delivering not a lot of things because the focus is just too large, right? We need to really have focus just on this, and then you can say on the next sprint we can work on this, this, and this. Okay, that's great. So we will have potentially being that functionality delivered in 4 weeks because we have 2 week sprints. So yeah, you need to involve people. You need to consider trade-offs. You need to also have you need to also you need to also put yourself in the position of everyone and see what is the most pressing right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? What is the biggest impact? What can we deliver right now that is going to present the biggest impact to everyone involved, stakeholders, all
But
departments, and
it's
so
not. It
on.
sounds like you've been talking about transparency, and it seems like unless you have the transparency, and that becomes the business mindset again. Unless you have transparency on the vision of the business, on the quarterly goals, like concrete numbers, like what are we trying to achieve, where are we heading, then it's going to
Yeah.
be really difficult to gauge within the tech team how can we best support those activities. And like people like to talk about OKRs, the way I've seen them implemented is always like in a really bad way because there's 15 of them and they don't make sense, but they're there because they need to be. So it seems like how do you as the CTO collect the
Yeah.
vision from the company and turn it into a plan?
Yeah, I like by the way, I like OKRs because they give you good sense of direction from everyone, right?
Yeah.
And if they're done in the right way, it's a really great way to get all the departments together to focus on the right goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need objectives. You need objectives as a company. You need objectives as departments in general, and you need to get somehow all of the people to focus on these objectives. You can't just have a meeting and don't talk about anything what you wish to achieve, and then you're assuming that the tech team is going to deliver exactly what is expected. That doesn't work that way, right? You need to have this high level goals and motivation and high level vision that we want to achieve as a company. So for example, we want to deliver our application to our customers by the end of this quarter. Okay, so we know this is our objective. How are we going to get there? We need to focus on making sure we have the features we need. We need to focus that we have the stable application. We need to focus that we have a good stable pipeline. We need to make sure that all the functionalities are working as they should be. And that's how you're trying then to really make sure to navigate these requirements. Without that,
Do you
without high
trans
level goals vision, it's not going to be possible. Yeah.
do you translate those OKRs or those goals down to the business, down to the tech team, and tell them, this feature that you're working on is potentially worth this much? Like, do you talk about money in the tech team and or impact?
Yeah, definitely. You need to expose business problems to your team, to entire engineering department, because that's how people are then making the best decisions. I mean, we make a lot of decisions as engineers on a daily basis, but if they don't know what problems we have as a business, what goals we have as a business, where do we wish to go, it's not going to be the best experience. It's not going to be the best also outcomes
Mm-hmm.
from engineers. So I try to share as much as business problems as we can, as also as much as business vision as possible, where we are going, where we are heading, what do we need to focus on, because that is going to provide a lot value to us as a business or maybe the customers and so on. So you need to do that. Yeah, you need to. I mean, not we may not talk about like for example. I mean, it's important like revenue and things like
Yeah.
how much money we are making as a company. That's a good kind of KPI for measuring the success, and that should always be public, and that should not be like hidden, because it's good to see like that we are growing as a company, and also our MRR is growing, our ARR is growing,
Mm-hmm.
and we are getting better. So those kind of data should never be like hidden from
Like
any departments.
for me, I also encourage, and for example, if you have a way to extract monetary value out, it's really useful when, let's say somebody on the tech team fixes 10 customer requests, or like fixes a big issue that impacts 1,000 users. If you can somehow tie it, and you say, if you report to the CEO, hey, we closed 15 tickets, it's like, good, bad, I don't know. But if you say, that's worth 10K, it lands differently. And also the engineers feel like, oh, we actually, it has real value. It's not just, oh my God, who's doing customer requests,
Yeah, definitely. You need to speak, for example, numbers are a great way to speak with non-tech people, right? In
Mm-hmm.
terms of numbers, because everyone understands numbers, especially finance likes numbers, right?
Finance,
And if you can,
marketing, the CEO,
and if you
everything
can
but the tech team. The tech team is just like, how much are we getting paid?
but still, you want to quantify your effort, right? Also as an engineer, right? If you can quantify your effort in terms of like, okay, I have saved 10K or 20K or 30K in AWS billing on a yearly basis. I mean that's a good adjustment you did, right?
I think it's really important if we like nurture that in the tech team, so that the engineers themselves proactively be like, okay, I just solved
Yeah,
an engineering
exactly.
problem that's worth 50K, or like, that you assign some value to, if we are down 5 hours, if you don't track, it's like we're down 5 hours, no biggie. If it's like
Yeah,
we made 200K minus because we were down 5 hours, then you will
yeah,
think differently about, just on the engineering level, like when somebody is making a choice, do I write it and do it properly, or do I just hack it in production?
yeah,
It's like, if they know, okay, if I press some enter and something goes wrong, I make, a big hole in the company. It's like,
yeah.
you're going to think differently, you're going to act differently, versus if you're shielded from that knowledge, and it's like, there's no consequences because, nobody ever gets fired in our company or something like that. It's a different attitude, and then you get the results that you get are going to be not as good.
And then that's also part of the seniority of engineers, right? It's not about like just what's the best framework to use, but what's the impact behind this feature? How can we build it in a way that is going to give and save as much money as possible? Because at the end of the day, our purpose as engineers, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to provide as much business value as possible, and that always is tied to monetary value. That means how much money we can save and how much money can we contribute to the business, right? That's at the end of the day our purpose as developers. So we need to think like that.
So to tie it all together, if we can do that while also doing things that we really enjoy, like solving hard technical problems, and playing with new technology that just brings the cherry to the cake.
Yeah, 100%.
So our hour went by super fast. I know you said that you still have a couple more minutes, so I would love to see some questions from the audience. So if you wanna ask something, pose a question to Gregor or myself. Write down in the comments box. Maybe Gregor, if I can ask you, do you have the stream open? Because I can just see it through Restream, so I'm not sure if I'm getting all the questions. I know LinkedIn is a little bit wonky at times.
Let me open the LinkedIn stream.
Just reading through the comments that I have received right now.
Oh, okay, I see some comments. Go Team Slovakia. Yeah, it's really interesting how our countries are sometimes. I mean, a lot of times we are getting mistaken.
Like
as Slovakia.
You know how interested it is for me. Like when I was still in Germany, being married to a Slovak girl, and then being Slovenian myself, and then we bring the marriage certificate there to Germans, and they're like, wait, is it not the same country? Like, what's going on? Are you who's from where? It gets confusing. Yeah.
Very, very confusing. Yeah, indeed. But
and plus we live in the Czech Republic, so it's you throw another wrench into the machine. So there's one question that I missed. It was the first one, collecting from Anton as well. Collecting requirements, understanding the mission, vision, and crucial aspects from a business standpoint is essential for a CTO to make informed decisions. Missing any of those elements can lead to significant problems. Additionally, focusing on ideal customer profile and carefully filtering feedback is crucial during the growth stage. It's more like a comment than a question.
Yeah, but really good. I mean, it's really important to understand that, right? Again, focusing on the customer. Customers are the heart of our product, right? And we need to think in a way what value we can provide to customers. If we can provide value to customers, we can provide value to the business and the stakeholders as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if on ideal customer profile, yeah, that's also a bit of a kind of a product discussion, right? Yeah, you need to have your product vision connected to your actual customers that you want. You can't just cater to all of the different profiles that you wish, because you're not going to build the app in a way that is going to be suited for that particular people, right? So yeah, I think especially in the growth stage, right, a lot of companies have problems with like getting suggestions or getting feedback from different customers, and then okay, what to decide to work on and what not to work on, right? You obviously want to please a lot of like this requests, and because you're in a growth stage, you don't have the name already, and you're trying to keep them as a customer. Okay, let's build this for this customer. But then at the end of the day, you're getting like a big chunk of different functionalities. It doesn't really make sense, right? Yeah. So it's a big balance here, and you need to kind of like have a good
of the questions that I've seen, sometimes as company gets started, especially when let's say a startup, you assemble a team and maybe you're building custom solutions because you have a couple of customers, but you're doing a custom implementation for each one of them. And then the question is, how do you go from custom for this one, custom for that one, into something that works in the market?
Yeah, this is you're digging your own grave if you're doing always custom solutions for everyone, because that doesn't scale unless that's your business business mindset and your kind of a business logic that you want to do. You want to have like a service-based kind of a product that you're actually building custom solution for that particular company. But then you need to target like bigger companies. Enterprise solutions is that you need to focus more. You can't like focus just you can't have like a small solution and then you cater to every small request and build a custom solution for them. It's just not going to work. But yeah, if you have that, you need to then also have the right mentality and the right customers as well. You can't build custom solutions if customers are not going to spend money on your solution.
Before we wrap up, if there's going to be some more questions, please ask away, ask now. You have the opportunity to do that. I'm curious, Gregor, what's next on you? What are your goals for 2024, 2025?
Yeah, I wish to progress as much as I can. I wish to always be learning new things as much as possible. I like to say software development is a never-ending learning experience for all of us, no matter of the role, no matter of the title. You need to always keep learning new things. Even as a CTO, even if you're director of engineering or VP of engineering, you need to always learn new things. So I wish to learn as much as possible. Reading newsletters,
Mm-hmm.
Being active on LinkedIn. I learned a lot of things from amazing professionals here on LinkedIn, and also on different by reading different newsletters. I wish to keep helping as much as people as possible on LinkedIn and also with my newsletter. So it will keep be weekly. I'm excited for every weekly edition to go out and really then curious and how do I say, to also get a feedback and also to see what's the response from people and so on. So I want to keep doing that. I want to improve the way I deliver that, improve my writing every week by week, and try to help as much as people as possible. I have a lot of smaller kind of like goals in between that are connected with these objectives. But yeah, I think the big goal for me is try to help as many people as possible, and also for me learn as much as new things as possible.
I'm really excited to follow your journey. Your posts kind of jump on top in my LinkedIn feed. So, and I think your writing is on point. You talk about business mindset. You talk about engineering leadership in general, how to grow from an engineer to a leader, and it's really exciting to see that knowledge is getting actually soaked up and that the user base is growing, and that's something that is valuable on the market, because I'm also in the same sphere of like trying to teaching about the importance of leadership in business and tech in general. So yeah, super excited. It was a really pleasant conversation with you. I know that we could, like, each one of those topics could be a separate podcast if we went really, really deep of it. So it seems like we grazed the surface of the things that we had on the menu.
Yes, awesome. Really appreciate your kind words. Thanks a lot for having me. It was a really pleasure to speak with you. The hour and 10 minutes went really fast. So I would be happy to speak with you again in the future as well.
Awesome. Then we can ask the audience if they want to have a targeted discussion, and hopefully Gregor gets to join us again for a deeper, more in-depth discussion into one of the topics. So if you have something that you would like us to delve more into, I welcome you to write it in the comments or in the event description. Please go, and if you're not subscribed to Gregor's newsletter, he writes magic. So go there, join the 37,000 plus people who already enjoy that. And with that, I bring the stream to a close. Thank you, Gregor. It was a pleasure, and I hope we speak again soon.